Welcome to Power to Teach. I would much rather do this in person, but I hope that despite this format, DVD format, you'll still find this material informative and even inspiring. As teachers, we have one of the most significant responsibilities, one of the most important responsibilities in the raising of children. And yet, and that is, of course, to equip them, to prepare them to take their part in society. And usually when one is given responsibilities, especially of this significant nature, one is also given the requisite power that's necessary to fulfill those responsibilities. Not so in teaching. We have one of the most important responsibilities in society, but, of course, where does the power come from? It doesn't come from our role. It doesn't come from our employer. It doesn't come from the principal. It doesn't come from the administration. Where does the power come from? This is the topic of this course. It is what I think is the most significant issue in education today, is simply that we're losing the power to teach. Consider this. We've never been so trained as teachers. Our curriculum has never been better honed. Our technology has never been so developed. Our pedagogy has never been so refined. And yet, despite all of these advances, for those of you that are viewing this and have been in the field for 25, 30 years, you'll know that teaching is actually getting harder. You're hard put in a conference, a teacher's conference, seminars and workshops, to find something other than addressing curriculum, pedagogy, technology, how to teach, what to teach, and the instruments of teaching. And yet, none of these address the issue of the simple issue, again, of where do we get the power to teach. In putting the pieces of the puzzle together over the last 35 years, a picture has emerged which I am compelled to share with you. And that picture basically is the story of context. I am absolutely convinced that the issue in education is one of context. That context is what provides the power to teach. I could have called this course the role of context in learning and behavior. Now, I want to introduce the concept of context. You're well aware of it in education. Of course, context is extremely important. We teach it all the time. Con, with, text, words. It's that which comes with the words. In other words, it is not the words. It is what comes with the words to give the words meaning so that we can interpret the words, but it is not the words. And if it's not in words, we have no consciousness of it. Now, when we teach Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare gave us the words, but not the context. And so whenever you produce a play, you go to, do you put this into the, do you try to figure out, again, recreate the context that Shakespeare would have given it in? Do you get a sense of what the theme is and put it into a new context, in a different venue, time and place and costume? Whatever context you put in is what will determine the interpretation. It will highlight the theme. But that part is not with words. Now, when we don't have words in society, we don't have consciousness. If we don't have language, we have nothing to speak about it. We have no collective consciousness, at least. And that is what I believe is the issue here. In this case, I'm going to do a little bit of a play on words. It's not what comes with the words that is significant. It's what comes with the child. What comes with the child is the most important factor in the learning equation. What the child brings to that encounter is where I believe is the secret of our power as educators. And that's where I'll go to. We'll talk about 4 natural contexts for learning. 3 of these we'll speak about in the first session. The 4th one will take the last 2 sessions, the last 2 hours of this course, to speak about directly, but now 3 natural contexts that empower the teacher. We all know the fundamental problem in teaching, and that is simply that you can take a teacher, university trained, district certified, state, provincial certified, whatever you like, put him together with a student that is in need of learning, and unfortunately, learning doesn't necessarily occur. And that is what frustrates us as teachers. When we go home at the end of the day, and our teaching has resulted in learning, it's a very satisfying experience. But when we give out the exam, when we have a sense at the end of the day that our teaching has not resulted in learning, it is extremely frustrating. And if this continues to happen, it leads, of course, to problems and burnout. And teachers have one of the largest problems of burnout of any profession, and in some areas far more than others. And it's simply the fact that you have all this teaching in you, which is your desire to give, and it doesn't result in learning. Now, normally when we think of context, we think of the structure. We think of the system in which we deliver. We think of that which comes with the teacher, not that which comes with the student. And so we think of this. Now, this used to be the icon of a school. If it looks somewhat like a church to you, just think back. This is what a school looked like, with a schedule, a bell, and so on and so on. So this is representing, it's the best I could do anyway. This is representing the school system, the structure, the classroom, the curriculum, everything about that which comes with the teacher. But again, it's not what comes with the teacher that is significant in giving us the power. All of this gives us no power whatsoever. It simply delineates our responsibilities. Where does our power come from? And again, that is the question that we're trying to address. Now, I'd like you to strip out of your mind, from your mind, all the system, all the structure, everything that comes with you as a teacher. So you're not bringing anything. And I'd like you to come with me on a little bit of a trip, imagination trip. Let's say that, you've had 3 days off of teaching. And given that you've been deprived of teaching for a bit, you have a lot of teaching in you that has to come out. It's just burning to come out. And so you go take a walk on a hunt for some student, some child in need of learning. You won't have to walk that far. Generally, you'll be able to come across a child that you would deem is in need of learning. And so you're not bringing anything with you to this encounter. Nothing. We should have even left that grad cap off of this picture. You're not bringing anything with you, just simply a raw encounter. Because here the issue is what comes with the child is the most significant context in teaching, not what comes with the teacher. Okay? So let's say you come across a child who is asking a question about his world. He's interested, he's curious about those things around him. He's full of wonder, amazement, and so on. Well, this is what you've been looking for your whole professional career. This is easy. All you have to do is put your answers in the context of his questions, and you've got all the power you need to translate your teaching into learning. That was easy enough. The course is now ended. But no, we've got a problem. We've got a problem. Because as you well know, not every single child is curious and interested about the world around him. In fact, there are rather there are less people, children, than more people that are interested and curious. If you've got half a dozen in your kindergarten class that are characteristically curious, you'll have a good year this year. And did you know that there are more children in kindergarten that are curious than in grade 12? So here's the problem. Not every child is interested and curious about the world around them. But you say, well, isn't our school system predicated upon the fact that every single child is interested and curious? Yes, it is. But where then does interest and curiosity come from?